Howdy folks, it's Donald Ward McCarthy here with 311 Realty Group, bringing you your second video update on general economics in regards to Toronto's real estate, Canada's economy, etc., etc. We're going to talk about inflation, the labour market, and what's likely to happen with interest rates in June. Next rate announcement, I believe, by the Bank of Canada is in June 7th or June 8th. In the previous video to this, a lot to cover there. We spoke about supply, demand, and where we are in regards to prices, and the fact that looking at absorption rate figures, we're definitely back into a seller's market territory in the GTA, property selling for over asking in shorter time frames, and very, very strong prices in terms of historic prices. We're average GTA price at 1.153. Anyway, so let's jump into inflation. So great news in regards to inflation, and last month as well too, we spoke about that, how it was fantastic. We dropped from 5.9 to 5.2. Whoa, we're down to 4.3 now as of April 18th, that announcement. That March's inflation was down to 4.3. So great news there. And I think when we look out and we look at why we're getting such good news in regards to inflation, last year when we were doing our videos and we were talking about this, we were discussing how, despite what the Bank of Canada or the Fed did, they had no control really over the inflationary factors such as the food and energy situation and increasing prices out of the war in Ukraine, etc., etc. We also at that point had no control over the supply chain issue, which both of those factors have gotten a lot better. Our gross margins are down, so competition at the storefronts is increasing, so they're dropping the price as much as possible. The one thing I will say here though is that Canadians are buying like crazy. Credit card use is through the roof. However, our credit card balances are lower, so we're not piling on that debt. It's just we are spending a lot more at the moment. Another factor I'll talk about, inflation. We're getting inflation under control, so the Bank of Canada and the Fed now, when we increase rates or do whatever, it's really having much more of an impact because those global issues aren't a factor anymore. They are a slight factor, but not as much as they were when we spoke a year or so ago. The other thing to note as well too, that part of our inflation is also dictated by our mortgage payments. So we've got high interest rates right now, and that is also impacting the inflation rate and why it's a bit elevated at the moment. And in fact, I heard Benjamin Tal talk about if we were to remove that component of our inflation rate out of the calculation, we actually would be down at an inflation rate of about 2 to 2.5%. So, I mean, it just, everything looks very positive this way. Moving forward, things are looking good. I'd say we're still, the Fed earlier on this week in the US raised by another 0.25%. Again, they're just being cautious. They're making sure that they get things under control and not paint a picture too positive so that the inflation might start ticking off again. Because as I say, people are spending a lot of money and our jobs market looks very strong. So on that note of our labour market, okay, so again, you probably heard the reports during the week, new figures announced, and even though they were good and our job market is strong, we're starting to see the cracks of that picture that is being painted. It is reality, but it's also a picture being painted as well too. So when we look deeper into the labour market, we're actually seeing the quit rate. It's something that they look at. The quit rate is down. The layoff rates are starting to increase. Job openings are starting to decrease. And another point that we have to make about job openings is that some are real, and at the moment there is a component there which is not so real. People posting, let's say they need 5 positions. Do they really, when it comes down to it, if they hire and they bring on those people at that elevated income raise, could they really sustain that? So a question mark over our job openings figures. So where are we at going into June? My prediction is we'll hold tight. We will keep level. We will not drop despite my prediction last. My opinion is that we'll hold it the same. There you go, folks. 311 Realty. Over and out. Give us a shout if you have any questions. That's why we're called 311. Ciao, ciao.